Good evening. My name is Radha Prasad and this is my story. I was born and raised in Guyana. I had one brother and one sister, and another a couple of years after me. We were living a good life together. I started school at the age of 5. Every day, my brother, sister, and myself would walk to and from school. On our way home from school, we'll stop and pick a number of fruits: cherries, mangoes, cashews, dongs, and so much more. We made the best of every day, even fight with one another on some days. But I love them more than anything else in the world. Each of us had our own chores. Mine was doing the dishes. At the end, the whole family would come together and water the garden. We lived a happy and contented as can be most days. At the age of 9, my dad decided to move to Trinidad in search for a better life. We lived alone. It felt like a part of our family was missing. A part of us was left empty. Things got more difficult than it already was. Our daily bread was harder to get. To add to it, he was the person that helped me with my schoolwork. So school became difficult for me. It was like everything was falling apart piece by piece. A couple of years later, my mom and my youngest sister decided to join our father in Trinidad. So my older siblings and I moved in with our grandmother and aunt. Now that our family was apart, it felt like nothing made sense anymore. School made no sense. It was just worse. It just got worse. We got more chores than before. We even had to start working. Every day we'd walk in the village with bowls of vegetables and sell. That was our new daily bread. About 2 years later, my mother came back to visit us. But little did I know, my brother and sister was leaving with her too. I was all alone with her that little 12-year-old me didn't know how to deal with. 7 months later, my mother sent for me. My whole family came in the airport when I came. I was so excited and happy to see them. I couldn't believe I was with my family again. My baby sister got so big. She didn't know me at first. By the next morning, she was good. The place was really different, so calm. My mom was pregnant again. The next day, she told me to get ready. I had to go to work with her in Port of Spain to help her with a bag. She was so scared to sell. This was my first time in a different country. I couldn't explain how happy I was. I was pleased to go to work with her. It was my first time in Port of Spain. She would ask a old lady to keep her bags while she put some of the skirts on her hand to walk the road and sell. She walked on George, Charlotte, Queen, and Duke Street selling. When she's finished, she would go buy more cloth to sew more skirts. By the time we got home, my older sister would already cook, so all there was left to do was for our mom to do was to go sew the skirts for the next day. A few months later, she had our baby brother. So now I started sewing the skirts and going to sell with my father. We did this for a while until a few years later we started vending on Queen Street. But it was still hard because police officer would often come and run my sister and I because we were too young to be selling. We should be in school, but we couldn't because my parents were illegal. There were days we didn't sell anything at all, but we didn't give up. At the age of 16, I got married. Within the first few months, I got pregnant with my first daughter. That didn't stop anything. I moved in with my husband and his family, but lived in a separate apartment. It was a small 2-room wooden home, but it was home. I started going to work with my husband every day, whole day. I worked side by side with him. We would go to the Tunapuna market every weekend and sell clothes. In the week, we would go to work in the garden, and then after, my husband would go and vend on Charlotte Street, selling underwears. So I had to stop working because of my pregnancy. After I had my baby, I went back out to work in the garden and took her with me. She would sleep under a shed in the garden when my daughter was 6 months old, one of my mother's friends offered to keep her while I was at work. I started working in both the garden and vending in town with my husband. Little by little, the business started growing. And when I was 22 years old, I was pregnant with my second daughter. We still vending on Charlotte Street, but just a little bigger. After making my daughter, I stayed at home with her for about 3 months until going back out to work. She would stay by my mother's friend, who by now was the godmother of my older daughter. We then got a small booth in a car park. While still vending on the road, it started getting better. Business, life, just everything started coming together. We were living a comfortable life with some friends and our family. Now we were financially able to buy a land and start building our own home, our own house. Sorry. Now we were lit. We were 5 years later. We moved into a booth in a mall. Small. 5 years later, we moved into a booth in a mall, still on Charlotte Street, while still vending as well. By this time, I was pregnant with my third baby girl. The cycle repeats itself. Went back out to work, only difference I took her with me. We bought our first panel van, which we use to drive and sell every weekend. The work got more challenging. There was a lot more on my plate. We would drive from Sawa to Chaguanas, then to San Fernando, to Princestown, Sandy Grande, to Arima. Business was so successful that we even started flying out to get our own stuff. I decided to give school another chance, and at this stage, so I signed up with my husband for ALTA classes, all because when we're flying out, we had a few forms to fill out, which was a bit difficult for both of us. Unfortunately, because of our commitment to our business and children, that at that time it didn't work out. Then to find out I was pregnant again. 9 months later, I had my black bouncing baby boy. When my son started school, he inspired me to give it another try for myself. I've never really had to help my 2 older daughters with school as much as I needed to help the last 2, who is 2 years apart. 3 years ago, I made my decision to join ALTA again. It has changed my life completely. I'm at a place where I never thought I would have been. I can help my children with their homework, projects, spelling, reading, and even sounding out big words, which is something I never thought I could have done. But with the help of the tutors at ALTA program, I would say this is a miracle. I have learned to never give up. Nothing in this life is impossible once you put your mind to it. By the grace of God and the help of ALTA tutors, anything is possible. I look forward to my level 3 class. Today I am a proud co-owner of my business, a proud mother of 4, and a proud ALTA student. Thank you.